Okay. So nice. So the interview is with our friend Ekow. So yeah, if you guys want to start introducing yourselves and a little bit about the project, just for the sake of the recording, and after that, I can start introducing some questions to know a little bit more about not only you two, but the whole experience of the ALJ as well, of the Accra ALJ, and some things related to the CATS program. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, nice. So if you want to start introducing yourself and just give it a little resume of the project, and then we can start digging a little bit more on what were the processes, what were the feelings and the motivation, and what the learnings as well are very important. So whenever you want to start.
Wait, hold on. Desmond, can you hear me? Okay, Desmond is here. All right.
Yes, yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So thank you very much, guys, for the opportunity once again to as I mentioned earlier. Wait, no, can we go ahead with it?
Yes, please. The mic
Okay.
is yours, my friend.
All right. So my name is Ekow, and I happen to be, as I mentioned earlier, as a participant for the Action Learning Journey that happened in Accra. And I have here with me one of my teammates, that's Desmond. So I think I'll give the floor to Desmond to also introduce himself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
welcome.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So my name is Lomoko Desmond Litaki, and I was also part of the Action Learning Journey. And Ekow was my, let me say, my boss in the group. Yes, and we came up with a project which the study journey wasn't easy, but we were able to conquer the project, yes. And at the end, we all learned and we all learned how railroad is being tackled. Yes. So that's what I'll say for now. Yes. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you very much, Desmond. So Desmond happened to be the, should I say, the tech guy in our project. So
Hmm.
our project was CarPool, and so as I mentioned earlier, the pain points. So I think one of the beauty of the action learning journey is that you are given the opportunity to actually go in your community and identify specific problems in your community. So I think when that phase was given to us, I actually took time to go in my community to observe certain like issues we were having. So at the end of the day, two issues I realized was one was there was like traffic congestion, which was due to lack of reliable cars because the number of cars on the road were many, but they were more or less like private transports. And so the public transports where people can actually board and the average Ghanaian can actually board were few. And so the time people will get to actually board, that was the first problem I noticed. The second one was in regards to flooding. That was that whenever it's rained in Ghana. Like whenever I read in Accra or my neighborhood, I realized that the gutters were choked and it was also even contributing to this whole traffic because at the end of the day, the water was always coming onto the road and now it will cause like people to have to now redirect their paths to another place too. So I think fast forward, we came to class, we all shared our ideas on what we noticed from the work in our neighborhood or the work in our community. And my team and I decided to stick with the carpooling too. So initially we were seeking to solve the problem of traffic congestion, but I realized that the traffic congestion had more like it had there was a lot of factors in this. So for instance, poor road networks, which is beyond our capability to actually solve it. In solving poor road networks, you are supposed to work with quite a number of organizational institutes in Accra. So like the Ministry of Transportation, the Urban Community, or the urban like the road and highway authority, like the urban authority, like there's a lot of them you have to work with. But um we redefined it to be like, okay, instead of just solving the problem of just traffic, we solve the problem of having reliable rides. So with the reliability, there are two parts that we're considering. One was comfort. So we noticed that the reason people don't like to the reason people private cars or private owned cars were a lot on the roads was that people did not also prefer the public because the public transport was one uncomfortable because instead of taking let's say 12 people, you find people taking 16 sometimes for one bus and the whole comfort was a problem. Secondly, was the time delays whenever they get to bus stops. So in bus stops, they get there and they don't have like specific times for waiting at bus stops. So a bus rider can wait at one bus stop for like close to 10 minutes. And if there are like five bus stops in there, meaning you should spend no less than 10 minutes on it. That's like about an hour on the road. But with a private car, your own private car, you can coordinate or you can control a thing like that too. And yes, because at the end of the day, people could afford by owning their own private cars too. Here lies the case that the average Ghanaian can't own their own car, especially the entry level employees in companies or those who just finished graduate school. So as a result of that, they all would want to be in the public transport. And here lies the case I mentioned. Problem of discomfort, time delays are very, very huge in there. Then we have the middle people. The middle people, I say, they don't have the money to buy their own private cars. At the same time, they would also be able to afford a certain level of comfort. So they end up using ride hailing apps like the Bolt, Yango, Uber, and these other ones too. So our solution was now that why don't you find a middle range for the public transport and those who can also afford the ride hailing app. So like a merger of these two. That's where like our market niche was that we are targeting those who can use the ride hailing apps and at the same time to like who can also afford um the the public transport too. So that was where our idea was to come up with like an app that regulates rides for morning rush and evening rush too. So I think we had a question to answer that. What happens when the bus driver is not needed during the morning and evening rush? And we were like, we were not particularly interested in what happens after a morning rush or an evening rush or before a morning rush. Ours is like within the morning rush, what's actually happening. So if a bus rider coming onto our team works after the morning and evening rush, he's free to do whatever he wants to do for the rest of the day. Ours is that once it's morning rush, make sure like we are just working towards solving this too. So the idea behind the whole carpool was that we just get people who are so a normal car would take about 4 people. So the mindset is that if you're able to get a bus that takes about 12 people, that means we are taking potentially about um 12 private owned cars or 12 ride hailing cars off the road. That
Mm-hmm.
is if you had to do if you had to go on exponential growth, meaning if you have to take about if you're going to get about a 50 of these buses off the road, that's why you taking about 600 potential people, 600 potential cars off the road too. So as I said, we are also looking at long term because when we start, people will be very, very doubtful about our whole idea process too. And the special thing about the unique selling point of our product is that we are not targeting just anyone on the road. When I say just anyone, we are not taking them just like, should I see, we are not starting with the market women, we are not starting with anyone who just gets up and like they feel like going to the marketplaces or not. We are targeting those who work, so like companies or workers. And fortunately for us in Accra, we have like commercial areas and residential areas too. So it's not like the commercial areas and they are just like all over the place, but they are a bit segregated too. So we can regulate who is coming in and who is going out to. So at particular times of the day, you can see that the road is actually very choked. Then these problems I'm mentioning or talking about happening. So the reason we are targeting companies is that because their companies have a lot of employees and they are more tech savvy because of our idea. So once we're able to run a pilot on like our initial target audience, moving on, we can now also move for these market people or those who even work remotely or families who want to even go out too. So I think that's basically that to end because machine learning journey was more or less like related to Cardano. We were intending on building it on the Cardano, and there are two things the Cardano was going to do. One was to record, right? So all transactions on the app is going to be stored on the Cardano blockchain. That's the first one. The second one was the escrow part. The escrow part was that whenever people book their rides, they make a payment, but the payment do not come directly to us. It is held escrow through smart contracts on the Cardano technology. Then after the ride is fulfilled, it is the money then released to us. So these are the two things we are looking forward to. Okay, and yes, and lastly to decentralized IDs. So each rider of these of our projects is going to have like a unique ID which will be stored or saved on the Cardano blockchain too. So these are like some aspects we considered when we were talking about the whole Cardano part too. So I think this is a bit of I've spoken much, but I believe there's like a brief of what our carpool idea was to. Yeah, thank you very much.
No worries. I just love to hear you to talk about this project with such a passion and a energy of change, of improvement, and really looking at your community and actually understanding and knowing what are the local challenges itself. So thank you very much for all the content and all you just shared with us. I have a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you regarding the ALJ and the CATS program. Because now that we have more context about the project itself and what is the project directed to solve, right? Maybe now I can ask you a couple questions about these two topics. So, for example, if you could go back in time and just on the first day um, and during all the program timeline, what was your favorite highlight from the Accra OJ?
Okay, I think I'll go first. Then Desmond will also share his favorite highlight. So mine was the self-organizing, the concept behind self-organization.
Okay.
So I think hackathons generally, the ones I've experienced or witnessed, is more or less like you come in, while someone has an idea, you work, build something, then you demonstrate how it work without even considering like certain external factors. But with self-organization, for instance, you more or less like it exposes so actually the weaknesses of your team in general. That's the one part like it exposed my team on because when we started, for instance, Desmond was not on our team initially when we
Hmm.
started, we were able to map out the individual roles of members we needed to make this happen. So, for instance, we needed a blockchain developer, we needed a front end and a back end developer, we needed a UI UX designer, we needed an administrator, kind of, we needed a community manager. So, community manager, they are more or less like serving as the link between those building the solution and those who are actually going to use the
Hmm.
solution. So we realized that we had all these roles in there except the developer part. So that's where Desmond came in to join our group later and helped us like to the very end of it. So the self-organization is actually the part that really like I really that was like my highlight. And one thing I like about self-organization, it literally applies to everything at the end of it, even aside like building stuff like your personal life. Once you try to take a step back and look at it from like a third view or a third perspective rather than you being involved directly, it most like shows you what you can do best, what your strengths are, what are your weaknesses, what you need to add, what you need to also like take out. So yeah. I think that was the highlight of my action learning journey.
Nice. In my opinion, this is one of my favorite highlights too of the action learning journey. Is this new way of understanding how to organize ourselves better, and we in who is gonna get each role based on their skills, and so it's something that. Myself, for example, it's a learning that you can take for your whole life, right? It's a type of learning that you can reapply in other situations, right? The self-organizing skill, it's a very important and necessary one. Um, but yeah, I relate with you. I like that as well about the ALJs. And I also wanted to ask. Why were you drawn to the event? Like, how did you find about it? And why did you stay in the event? What actually clicked in your head when you just when you participated in the AOJ? Apart from the self-organizing, that it's something that you understood a little bit more further, but what was the element that took you to the event to find out what it is, to learn, to live, and now you're here? What was this spice for it, we could say?
Oh, so I remember when the hackathon was shared to me. So I forgot to find out about the action and engineering like hackathon from the host. That was like Accra Resource Center. Yeah. So personally, so I see my Cardano experience has been with Accra Resource Center, like the experience I know, the exposure, and also when they shared with me, I was like, okay, sure, this could be something I could um get myself involved into. So I came the first day, and as I mentioned, that previous hackathons I've joined, from the first day you start building something. But it was when I came the first day, I remember the first task that I was given. I think the first task that I was given was to us to arrange our setting to fit our learning style. That was when I realized that wow, this is actually not a classroom thing.
Mm,
Because classroom thing, there are table and desk. Because when we entered the classroom, there was a table and desk for sorry, a table and a chair from each student. But once we started, they told us that we should reorganize the place and so that it will fit our own reality too. So we started and the way we reorganized it too, it was like should I say they made it in a game kind of form. So people could see, people could not move. So if you can see, meaning you can't move. If you can't move, meaning you can't see. So like they pair you up with individuals too. So then through that we're able to like redecorate the place to fit our learning style too. So when I saw that, okay, that was what happened the first day, it happened the second day, it happened the third day. It actually kept like on and on and on. I realized, okay, those were some of the few moments I actually did enjoy too. So what it did to me was that it just didn't um it wasn't just the fun part, but it actually got me started. Yeah, it actually got me started with the data. Okay, once we are getting into the meaning, we started to like I was allowed to like relax and now fit in gently into it. And I think one of the experiences that got me to stay true from the beginning to the end of that, naturally, I would rather work in a department than be the head of like the entire organization. So let me give an example. So for instance, with the carpool idea, for instance, I remember when you were asking those who wanted to be team members. Trust me, I had no interest in being like a team leader kind of thing. But my team
mm,
members were like, "Oh, I should go for a team leader. I should go for a team leader because it fits me." So the reason I don't like being a leader for like an entire organization, I prefer I know the tasks I'm doing, then I get it done because I believe in my work with that. Once you give me something to do, the kind of energy and passion and speed I'll add to it, I'll get it done, then I'll come back for a feedback, then I'll move on. But you see, when you're a leader now, it's not about you getting it done, it's making sure that everyone actually also gets it done. So the action the leader actually took me as a team leader, and the part I didn't like doing or I've not liked doing in the past, I had to some way somehow step up and make sure that they are doing so. These are times where I'll have to go to Desmond, how's the developing parts going on? And he's like, oh, I'm able to do this. This is the progress so far. This is what we need to do moving on to. Then the community reviewer, the community managers, oh, how far from the update you last sent to our audience? What's up? What's the insights you got into? So like it wasn't just me getting my portion done, but now getting everyone done. And I believe that in getting everyone to it, it more like helped me enjoy the whole process rather than just enjoying like the final result of okay, we built this, it is doing this, the app can do that. No, it went just because from just like doing it done. It went from like doing it to more or less like enjoying the whole process. As I mentioned, that from the morning that you come in, you're allowed to like relax and now like start your day or going right into it. So I think that's one of the things that like got me
So
into it,
we
got me to stay.
So we could say this care of everyone's experience, this care of everyone to be relaxed, to have fun, to deal with serious things in a more playful way.
Yeah,
We could say we could resume on those points, uh, like if we could say that that those are the things that actually draw you to the event, this differentiation of standard hackathons versus the action learning journey, right?
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
It felt more natural than
More natural.
yeah.
I see. I was very curious about a couple things related to CAT's program, to what we are rolling right now. One thing that rounds my head is, what's the what's the potential you see for the larger hackathon program of CATs, for example?
Okay, so with the cat program, the potential I see is so I think I'll take it from should I say a Cardano perspective. Yeah, I'll take it from a Cardano perspective. So
Sure.
they've been having like several funding rounds, like Project Catalyst in the funding initiative. And one issue or one problem we encounter as Africans is that we always keep saying that they are not, should I say, they're not being fair to us in quotes in regards like the number of like ideas that are voted on and like onboarded as like a winning project. But they also are of the view, or most people I speak to are of the view that most of our project ideas are usually around education. They've noticed that the education part is like it's passing. So now we are in a part where they are focusing more on use cases too. And I believe that CAT is going to be, should I say, a foundation for a lot of projects that can actually go onto Cardano eventually and help really build the Cardano ecosystem. So, for instance, if we are, let's say, at the end of the day, we're able to get about 5 to 10 very solid ideas which demonstrates real use case of Cardano, it's going to help or gain the traction Africans actually need at the end of the day. It wouldn't just be that we are always focusing on like a non-technical part or focusing on like the education part or an onboarding part. So with the CAT initiative, I believe that is going to be more or less like a foundation or a stepping stone for like the bigger potential Africa actually has. And it's going to also demonstrate at the end of the day that you actually have something doing or you have something going on in the regards they also are looking at too. So yeah, that's the bit I'll share on that regards like the potential cuts to bring on board.
Nice. I have a similar view as well. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Let me try to choose here in my my last questions that I have here, so we don't overextend. Just one second. Hmm. I have a good one for you. Okay, so how do you see a role for yourself in that? Like, what are some of your aims as a mentor in this program in CATS?
Okay, thank you very much too once again. So, my role as a mentor for this project is actually to bring on board my experience in the action learning journey. So, for instance, if there is a hub lead in here too, my role is to ensure that he's not starting from ground zero to the
Mm,
top part. It's from my experience, it could contribute like one or two to his starting point rather than starting all the way from zero to. So I believe that with experiences I've gained over like these few months, and mind you, after my action learning journey, I didn't just sleep on the idea. There has been like practical moves I've been made. Just yesterday, I went to some companies to try to get to talk to the HR and get them to like grant permissions for me to have like surveys with employees to understand or better understand the idea I'm trying to solve in there too. So with something like and yeah, I think I've mentioned it once too. So taps too. I got a partnership with one of an electric vehicle bus company recently who are more or less like willing to bring on board like their buses and also their drivers once our idea is up there and it's running. You get it. So like experiences like these can also motivate people that okay, it's not just that after the CAT program we are just done. No, there are also like better initiatives. Okay, no, not better. Like there are also more initiatives out there to help them also like build their idea moving forward. So I believe that my experience or my progress so far should be able to help them or guide them like through the entire process too. As I said, we've been more or less like the examples or like the lab rats so far in this like action and engine. So yeah, we didn't need them to start from like zero, but like at least a one or a five. Some people might even get a 10 because they have everything figured out. They just need like someone to point it out that okay, from this stage of the action learning journey, you need to do this to advance. So I believe that's like my rule for a cat. Yeah, thank you very much once again.
you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ekow. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see you in action here with all your experience, and I really agree in everything you said here. Thank you very much for this interview.